Oh my God. So today I did not need any coffee, even though I have a cup right here. Is when I went to go look at my brokerage account, I saw that CVS was down double digits today, which is a rarity for a stock that doesn't really move a tremendous amount. And personally, I thought the earnings were fabulous. Everything I expected the company to do, they are doing, and the valuation seems very appropriate on the stock. But when you see a company move nearly 10% in the matter of minutes, and it's one of your largest holdings, it definitely makes you concerned. So let's talk about what's going on with CVS, as I am concerned about the shakeup that's taking place. Over the last 4 quarters, CVS has done nothing but beat earnings and do everything right from a company perspective. And today, something happened that nobody would have saw coming, and that is the fact that Blue Shield of California is now dropping CVS's PBM contract. Now, they believe that this is 4.8 million members that are going to be needing CVS a lot less. And is this going to now transpire to other locations? As Blue Shield making this move is definitely sending alarms and shockwaves through CVS's stock price. Now, Blue Shield of California believes that this PBM model is lacking transparency, now moving to an alternative position of Amazon and Mark Cuban's company. Now, why I'm thinking the stock is selling off a little too much here is the fact that for most of your generic drugs, you can now use the Amazon and Cuban cost savings drug plan. But what I want to highlight here is the fact that CVS is not getting completely dumped out of this picture. It still plans to use CVS CareMaker for specialty pharmacy services for patients with complex conditions. And so now what we have to really figure out is how much business is CVS going to miss out on with this move? And the next question is, how efficient is the cost savings plan going to be switching over to the Amazon Cuban plan? Because we don't really know the outcome of that as well. In my opinion, there is a lot of unknowns, but there's also a lot of fear, and rightfully so, in the stock, because are we going to start seeing this transition out? And first and foremost, I really want to come forth and say that I was a huge bull on CVS. I thought it was one of the better deals in the overall stock market. The company has done nothing but doing the right things, growing earnings per share, returning capital to shareholders, innovating their business model, and acquiring which I believe to be great companies to add into their business model. And so while I understand the fear of what's taking place here, I'm now not as bullish, and I'm actually a little more uncertain to what's going on. So I want to fully disclose exactly where I'm at with CVS. I still think the valuation is extremely cheap, and I still think there's a tremendous of unknowns going forth this whole healthcare shakeout. So I lowered my exposure and took profits at the same time, which is making this move not as drastic as it could be. But if this keeps selling off, I did state that I would add more in the 50s, as this is actually my price target for the company. For CVS, I roughly had a $56 price target. And now with this type of news out on the table, I'm finding it a little bit more realistic that it could hit these price targets. So while I think this news is kind of alarming and bad, we also see that they're not completely getting dumped by the 4.8 million people. People are still going to get prescriptions and go to CVS. It's just not going to be as much. But CVS, with the acquisition of Aetna and State Street, have built out aspects of their business model with home health care and primary care opportunities. So they're not just relying on this alone. So I tend to think that somewhere in the middle is the truth. The sell-off possibly could be a little much here, but I do think that a small sell-off could make them out. I think a small sell-off does make a little bit of sense here due to the fact that their bread and butter has always been pharmaceuticals. And if this starts spreading, that's obviously going to impact their bottom line. But I also think that it's tremendously undervalued anyway. So it's kind of in the middle here where I think I'm going to remain steadfast until I see how much more this could spread. I think CVS overall is going to be fine. The question becomes, at what valuation do you want to put them at? And unfortunately, I did reach a little bit on this stock, but I tend to think that that $56 to $65 range does make sense for this company, even after this news. And so I did reach a little bit at $69, but overall, I'm not upset because I took some profits. I wrote some calls against the position, and basically my position average is around $67, $68. And so I'm not too upset with this move overall, but I am concerned about what the spread could be going forward.